Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're going to explain and really break down one of the most mind-blowing national transformations of our entire lifetime. For decades, El Salvador was literally considered the crime capital of the world, but today, it stands as one of the safest countries on the globe. So, how exactly does a nation completely flip its security landscape in just a few short years? Well, to explain that, we actually have to take you inside the very center of this transformation, a place specifically designed to hold the people who once terrorized the entire country.
Okay, let's dive right into this. 64,000. That is the staggering number of criminal arrests that triggered this massive change. Just let that scale sink in for a second. To completely alter the daily life and safety of an entire country, the government didn't just go after a few key gang leaders. No, they swept up 64,000 individuals. But as you can imagine, when you arrest that many people in such an incredibly short period, you are immediately faced with a completely unprecedented logistical nightmare. Where on earth do you put them all?
Section 1. The State of Emergency, the Catalyst for Transformation.
To really understand the physical fortress we're about to explore, we first need to explain the architect behind it all, President Nayib Bukele. Elected back in 2019, Bukele, who is actually of Palestinian descent, with his father known as the Imam of El Salvador, took this absolute, totally unyielding stance on public safety. So in March of 2022, his administration declared a nationwide state of emergency. And that is exactly what triggered this massive wave of arrests, which in turn necessitated the rapid, almost overnight creation of the mega-prison we're explaining today.
The speed of this whole transformation is just incredible. Look at the timeline here. Bukele takes office in 2019. By March 2022, that state of emergency kicks off the 64,000 arrests. Literally the very next year, 2023, the CECOT prison is officially inaugurated specifically to hold these gang members. And then, by 2024, the country's security landscape had shifted so dramatically that Bukele actually won re-election in an absolute landslide. It's just a remarkably rapid progression from systemic violence to total state control.
Section 2. Entering the Fortress, Scale and Perimeter.
Imagine taking the one-hour drive out of the city, right? You finally reach the heavily guarded gates of CECOT, and you instantly realize this facility was built to send a very, very clear message. It is the largest prison in Latin America. It spans the size of 8 football fields and was built with a staggering capacity to hold 40,000 inmates. And, just to be perfectly clear here, this facility is absolutely not about rehabilitation. It was purpose-built to hold the world's most dangerous criminals permanently.
And they make sure it's permanent through a totally impenetrable perimeter. The entire prison is locked inside these massive 15-meter high concrete walls. They're towering. And those walls, they're reinforced with dense layers of barbed wire, while the grounds are constantly watched by 19 active watchtowers. Authorities and outside observers alike report that escaping from this concrete fortress is functionally impossible. It's literally designed to be the absolute end of the road for anyone who enters. But concrete walls alone don't secure a facility like this. The prison is guarded by a massive human security force, 600 soldiers and 250 police officers. There's a heavily stocked armory right there on site, and the guards are equipped with highly specialized emergency gear. They even use these specific, heavy-duty leg cuffs that are actually designed to bind a prisoner's hands and feet together at the exact same time, making it incredibly uncomfortable and super difficult for them to even walk. The sheer military presence here makes it feel way less like a traditional prison and more like a country actively at war.
Section 3. Maximum Security Protocols. Checkpoints and Verification.
Getting past those gigantic outer walls is really just step 1. Entering CECOT actually feels a lot like navigating a hyper-strict international airport. See, because the mass arrests brought in criminals who often arrived without any formal ID whatsoever, the prison relies entirely on advanced tech to know exactly who is who. Everyone going in passes through a special inspection room where even lightweight clothing and socks are thoroughly checked. From there, it's a strict gauntlet of high-tech fingerprint scanners, advanced facial recognition cameras, and motion sensors tracking every single movement. Once you're inside, there is a stark, almost jarring contrast. Because the guards are surrounded day and night by some of the most dangerous gang leaders in the world, the state provides them with specific well-being provisions to keep them sharp. Guards work 5 days on, 5 days off. They have access to a gym, really comfortable dormitories, and shaving facilities right there on site. But on the exact opposite side of that reality are the inmates. They are strictly, permanently confined to their cell blocks. Once they pass through that final gate, they literally never leave the facility again.
Section 4. Life inside the cells, the inner sanctum.
Now, what's really fascinating about this next part is that CECOT is divided into 8 massive cell blocks. And who exactly is inside them? Barrio 18 and MS-13. These are 2 of the largest, most notoriously violent gangs in all of Latin America. Historically, they've been bitter, blood-feud enemies at war with one another and responsible for hundreds of murders and rapes. But here in CECOT, these rival factions are locked up together. They are stripped of their gang colors, forced to wear identical white uniforms, and it creates this incredibly tense environment. Guards actually report getting these terrifying glares from men who were once sworn enemies on the streets, but are now forced to share the exact same space.
To manage this incredibly volatile mix, authorities actually use the inmates' own skin against them. The police maintain a specialized tattoo catalog. Basically, anyone with gang tattoos is immediately arrested. And inside, these markings tell a really grim story. The number 18 instantly signifies Barrio 18, while other inmates have really distinct MS-13 markings. Horrifyingly, a lot of them bear tattoos of graves and skulls, which actually represent specific people they've murdered, or memorials for fallen gang members. And you know, inmates have tried to alter or burn off these tattoos to escape justice, but the authorities catch it pretty much every single time.
Which brings us to the incredibly harsh mathematics of life inside these blocks. 80. Every single cell in this fortress is built with a capacity for 100 inmates, but there are only 80 beds. So what does that mean? It means a significant portion of the prisoners literally have to sleep on the hard concrete floor. And to make matters even more severe, they aren't provided with any blankets at all to protect themselves from the cold.
Let's fully explain the logistical realities of this total confinement because it is intense. The lights inside the cells, they remain on 24/7. They are literally never turned off. This keeps prisoners completely disoriented about the time of day and ensures guards can constantly monitor them. Inmates are only allowed out of their packed cells for exactly 30 minutes a day and strictly for bodyweight exercise. Family visits are entirely banned. They can't even leave the prison for court. Trials and lawyer meetings are all conducted right there via video call. Even medical care is handled completely on site, with daily visits from doctors and nurses, absolutely ensuring that the prisoners never step foot outside.
Now, if an inmate breaks the rules in this already intense environment, they face the ultimate punishment, solitary confinement. In stark contrast to the blinding 24/7 lights of the main cells, solitary is complete, total darkness. Any misbehavior earns a 15-day sentence in these pitch-black rooms, and they don't leave for anything. Their meals, which consist solely of beans and rice, by the way, absolutely no chicken or meat, are delivered directly inside that dark cell.
But behind all these cold statistics and concrete walls are some truly chilling individual stories. During a media tour, a specific MS-13 member was interviewed. This is a guy who joined the gang when he was just 11 years old, and he went on to personally kill 30 people. The quote about him notes, "He cries every day and regrets what he has done, but it's too late." He might feel remorse now, but within the walls of CECOT, he is facing the absolutely unyielding, permanent justice established by this state crackdown.
Section 5. The political aftermath. The cost of safety. You see, when a government locks away 64,000 people in a mega-prison with virtually zero outside contact, it completely reshapes the country's entire political landscape. Think about this. When President Bukele was first elected in 2019, his approval rating was sitting around 50%. But by the 2024 elections, following the state of emergency and the dramatic opening of CECOT, he won by an absolute landslide, capturing 85% of the vote. And the reason explained by the citizens themselves is pretty simple. For the first time in decades, the people of El Salvador felt genuinely safe walking down their own streets.
Which brings us to the final thought of our explainer today. We've explained the transformation from the crime capital of the world to one of its safest nations. We've also walked you through the stark, permanent, and incredibly severe conditions inside the concrete walls of CECOT that actually made it happen. So I want to leave you with this question to really think about. Does the unprecedented, nationwide safety of El Salvador justify the extreme, unyielding reality of CECOT? It is a profoundly deep geopolitical question. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the facts behind this fascinating topic and keep learning.